Do you ever find yourself feeling really anxious when you go to open your bank account? Or you go to pay a bill, or you plan a vacation and you want to go on this vacation. You're super excited about this vacation, but the whole time that you're there or the whole time that you're planning, it's like you can't even have fun with the experience because you're so worried about the finances and how much it's going to cost and what you're going to need to do to make this money back up. If that's you, then listen up, because it's really important that you understand what's happening here in order to make sure that all of the mindset practices, all of the manifestation practices that you have been using are actually going to land and work. Hello, my love. Welcome to the Soul Powered channel. This is your one-stop shop for all things soul alignment. We're talking getting out of survival mode, moving into soul power, and releasing what society has told you is the definition of success for what your soul actually desires in this lifetime. I believe that you came to this earth with an alignment assignment, which is something to play out during this lifetime, something that you chose long before you came here to do, some kind of impact that you're here to make on the planet, some way that you are here to contribute to help raise the collective consciousness of Earth. And that's my desire, is to help you to be able to play out that alignment assignment by gaining the confidence, by releasing the things that are no longer serving you, by remembering who the fuck you actually are at your soul level, and rising into overflow together. Thank you so much for being here today. I seriously cannot wait to dive in. Let's do this. My name is Rebekah Kiger. I am a financial advisor turned quantum wealth advisor, and I help women go from living in survival to living a life led by their soul. And really, money is an important piece of the puzzle there, because money is the symbol of survival in our society. So when you think about surviving and needing to put food on the table, needing to, feed yourself, to feed kids, to keep a roof over your head, all of that requires money. And so there's really this strange relationship that a lot of us have with money. It's like everybody wants more of it, but the majority of people are anxious around it and fearful of running out of it, or not having enough of it, or spending too much of it, or it not coming back. So if this is happening in your life, just know that this is totally normal. There's nothing wrong with you. This is how it used to be for me as well, growing up below the poverty line like I did. But what's actually happening here is, if your reality is of a reality that you can go on vacation, that you have a little bit more than enough, or you have just enough to do the things that you want, but you're still feeling that level of anxiety no matter what. And even if you have a lot more than enough, you may still feel this anxiety. And that's because there's a mismatch between what's going on in your head and what's going on in your body. So if you have fear around money, that tells me that your nervous system still doesn't feel 100% safe around money. And the problem with that is that the nervous system loves and craves the things that are familiar. So if you grew up in an environment where maybe there was a lot of chaos around money, there was job loss, there was divorce, there were conversations that your parents were having around wealthy people, maybe not so great conversations they were having around them. You grew up in a place where you heard a lot of negative stories around money. What will happen is, when you get into adulthood, you will consciously want to make more money. You're going to want to do more things. You're going to want to experience more of life, but then your nervous system is still going to feel tied to those stories, those emotions that you felt as a child, because the body creates a baseline in childhood for you to notice what's normal in the world. And so that's why a lot of times the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor. And we complete these cycles over and over for generations to come, until someone like you comes along and you're like, hey, but I actually don't want to live this way. I don't want to do the things that the people who have come before me did. I want to break the cycle. So you know consciously that you want to break the cycle. You start reading about the mind, or you start listening to books and audios, and you start doing the affirmations, and maybe even dabble into some manifestation practices or spiritual practices. And then you start to create some momentum but then you find yourself taking, one step forward only to take two steps back. And it feels like this internal conflict because it really actually is. There's a part of your brain that is really on board and it's like, yeah, I'm ready to do this. I know I can. I have belief in myself, in the fact that I can break these cycles. I can make more money. I can have way more than enough, and I can do it with ease, and I can do it with flow, and I can do it with less time. And you start to see all the people online doing all the things. So like you're gathering evidence of this, but then your body is still connected to the past, still connected to that baseline from childhood. And so if this is happening, that disconnect is really the missing link that a lot of manifestation and mindset teachers are missing, because the body is going to override the desire that you have to move forward. Your nervous system is going to block you from that next level because what the nervous system feels is unfamiliar is automatically going to be deemed as unsafe. And so familiarity equals safety, unfamiliarity equals danger. And so the primary role of the nervous system is literally to keep you alive. It's not to help you thrive into the best and highest version of yourself. That's your soul's job. But your nervous system's job is actually to keep you completely and utterly safe and in your comfort zone and to keep that homeostasis going. So what then do we do? Well, we have to, if you want to get to that next level, but you feel this internal dialogue happening or this internal conflict, you have to be able to merge the two. You've got to be able to regulate the nervous system to make money safe to the nervous system and to allow the mind and the body to have that beautiful connection, which then in turn allows you access to the soul, which then the soul can lead the way and help you on your mission of making way more than enough money, doing it from a place of ease and flow and purpose and fulfillment. And that's really what I believe that living a soul-powered life is all about. It's about being able to live a life that is led by your soul, but so many people are stuck in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you do not have the same access to the soul. You don't have access to the soul power. You just don't, because your analytical mind is out the window. When you're in this survival state, you're just running on autopilot. It's what they call the reptilian brain. It's animalistic in a way. So think about it. When you're stressing out, a lot of times it's like I have tunnel vision now and I'm focused on this one thing, and the brain becomes very selfish because it's worried about preserving the self. It's biological. There's nothing wrong with you if this is happening. But what ends up occurring is when you're so hyper-focused down here, it's like you can't open your mind to all of the possibilities and the things that exist outside of you when you are living from your soul. And so you need to be able to get the mind, the body, and the soul on board with what it is that you're trying to create, because ultimately you want to use the energy that is currently being tied up in these past stories and these past programs and these limiting beliefs and these nervous system protective patterns. All these things are what keep you in the prison of the mind. It's the matrix. It's a self-created matrix that you're living by, that you don't even know how you got here half the time. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, there was programming, but like once you start to see this stuff, you can't unsee it. And you just get to a place where you're like, holy shit, like I did not know that this much of my life was being run on autopilot. I had no idea. That wasn't something that I was aware of before. So when you can become aware of it, which is the point of this conversation that we're having now, and the point of all of my work, is to help you to identify these ways of being that are not supporting you anymore so that you can overcome them, so that you can release them, so you can let them go. Because every time you release an old story from the past, or you release an old emotion or a trauma or, something from the past, it frees up energy that can be used to create your future. And creating a new reality is going to take a level of energy from you. Everyone talks about these quantum leaps happening. You can't quantum leap from a place of exhaustion. It just doesn't work that way. If you want a quantum leap, then you have to understand how to tap into the quantum. You have to understand how to tap into the coherent field around you, the bioelectric field that you have that's connected to all that is. You have to be able to understand how to tap into that. And through a state of dysregulation in the nervous system, through a state state of survival, it's unattainable. You have to bring your body into safety, and you have to know how to do that. So if you want help with that, that's what I do. That's what I do inside of the Soul Powered Society. So if you want to learn more, check out the resources below, because I have all kinds of free assets that you can dive into that we can go way deeper than we've been able to do in this video here, where you can learn so much more about exactly how to do this. That is my goal for you. That is my prayer for you. Every single day, I want to see people going from that place of survival, living in that survival state, even if you have more than enough. This is also where people get it wrong. It's like, just because you have more money doesn't mean that you automatically move out of survival. As a matter of fact, what usually happens is the story goes from, I can't make any money, I can't make any money, I don't have enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, blah, 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 to, oh my God, now I have all this money coming in. What if I lose it? What if I fuck it up? What if I do the wrong thing? We're just like taking off this story and putting on this one. We're literally taking off a record of this old story and then just putting a new one on. It's like we're taking that survival energy and just directing it into something else. And it's what we do. It's what we do as humans until we release that survival altogether. And that's a process. That's a journey. That's not something that happens overnight. And that's why I decided to share more about this here on the podcast, because ultimately I see a lot of people who have really good intentions, but they're sharing things on, TikTok and these really short form type of, if you do this one thing, it's going to change your whole life and it's going to make everything better. And I think that we live in this era of overnight results, and we get our Amazon packages in 2 days and we don't have to wait very long for much. What that's causing is people to give up on their hopes, give up on their dreams, give up on their purpose, give up on their soul, because it's not happening right away. But this is a journey of literally coming back home to yourself. And if you can remember this before I let you go, this is going to be really important to remember. You came into this world as a soul ready to have a human experience. And you knew that you were limitless, and you knew that you had everything that it took. And you knew before you came here that you were going to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you desired. And then life occurred and you were born, and now you have people that are programming you, that you're picking up on. You're listening to people. I always equate it to, it's like you have a GoPro attached to your forehead at birth, and your subconscious mind is literally picking up on everything around you, and it's determining what you want to take as your truth. But before the age of about 6 or 7, you don't even have an analytical mind to decide if you want to take it on as truth. You just take it on as truth. And so all those stories and those limiting beliefs and those things that you've heard and those experiences that you've had and those big emotions that you experienced as a result of certain things happening in your life, all of those things, maybe you should be more realistic. Good girls don't do this. Good boys don't do that. Like all the things that we heard from the time we were a kid, you go from this limitless being to a very limited construct by the time you're, 14 to 18 years old. And by the time you're 35, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work teaches us that you're pretty much like a hardwired person. And like you can anticipate exactly what's going to happen in your life because you're just running on those automatic programs. But what they've also found through neuroscience is that there's something called neuroplasticity. They used to believe that this is just the way you are now and you're just a hardwired person that can't change. But the reality is you can change. New neural networks can be created all the time through new experiences, through new things. And so if you want to create something new, you can absolutely do that, but you have to release that old story that you can't. And what I believe is actually happening here is that you're always just coming back home to your true self, your true authentic self that you were when you came into this world. That's who you really are. And so this whole deconditioning, this dismantling, this deprogramming of this avatar version of you that really was just this masked person that's not even really who you are. It's just who you thought everybody else wanted you to be. You're just deprogramming that and coming back to the soul, coming back to your true essence, coming back to who it is that you are. And that's what I call accessing your soul power. And that's what I'm here to teach you how to do. So if you want to learn more how to do this, go check out the free resources in the link below, because I've got some things for you. And I want you to dive into this. That's my prayer for you. That's my wish for you. And I can't wait to see you accessing your soul power, thriving in your soul power, and living a life that is guided by your soul. We'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today on this episode of the Soul Power Channel. I trust that you got what you came here for. And truly, if this episode resonates with you, would you do me a favor and send this to someone else that you know it would resonate with as well? That really increases the probability that we're going to be able to collapse time and move into the soul-powered society even faster. We're headed to the new earth. It's inevitable. It's happening. But the more of us that can access our soul power, walk in that soul-powered truth, and create this together to be that beautiful bridge from the 3D where we're living now to the 5D new earth, the better. So share this with someone. Come back anytime you need inspiration. I'm so happy to have you here. I love you so much. And I'm so, so, so grateful for every single moment that you decide to tune in. And I can't wait to see what transforms in your life as a result of this work. We'll see you next time.